last time on the Empire's Edge.
All I heard was he wanted my blood.
That's why it's so huge, because we've got a big, massive fiend, and we go, thump, and now it's just in the box.
But if you ask Drew and just say, hey, we're on our way there, if you get no reply back or you're saying like, oh God, the fire, then we might be like, maybe not.
I say, alley-oop. And we go.
Is this the same place where we could focus on a spot and be able to see
Yeah.
it?
Yeah,
Right,
but
yeah,
it's a
but it's a
real
room
physical
now.
place
It's an
now.
actual
Oh,
room.
nice.
If we detach from the spiders, we wouldn't fall 80 feet.
And you're looking at a large metallic dragon, that the evil of that place is looking for you. Where you felt this elation relating everything to Drew Landers and the other druids yesterday, and the elation of restoring Azongo's tower and meeting Azongo, like in the flesh, that when you realize what you're actually up against, it seems daunting again, that in order to be successful, you would have to completely conquer the entire region. So the tower's been restored. You found out all sorts of amazing things, and you should probably decide where you're going next or how you're moving from here.
We go there first.
The first thing is to sneeze.
My son, Achu, bless you.
The pollen is really bad all the way. Are we still up at the top of the tower? Just like a breeze comes in, smacks you in the face with a bunch of yellow pollen.
It is definitely Georgia right now.
You hear Drew all the way from the bottom. Bless you. All right.
Yeah, so is there anything else we wanted to look at while we're still up here?
Did we look at Brian?
Or
I don't
in
think
the
we looked at anything. I
We
think
haven't
got
looked
up
at
here.
anything. No, we've been talking to
Well, we saw the armies gathering.
a dragon.
right.
So we saw the one big thing that was big enough for him to go, and that's the end of the episode. So no, I think we still have a lot more things to do up here.
Yeah, so as much as you guys want to see.
Yeah.
Brian first, and just like push
All
my
right,
way to the front of the line.
And again, that with even one of you going, the way that the tower is, it's newly formed tower, it's easy for one person to direct it, and you zoom right in on Grind. There are a couple of new buildings that are like houses that are built there. Your own individual, like if you're kind of scanning around where the town is, that your house, Jacob, and your Zelen look a little on the run-down side.
Nobody's taking care of her. Nice.
So
Can I see
again,
my cat?
word has gotten back. Yeah,
That's why yours isn't being
Right,
taken care of, because
you don't see the cat anywhere. But Grind itself looks largely unchanged.
Morris the salt merchant, is he around?
yeah, where's Morris? There's a gigantic factory. Morris Young Salt.
Yeah, that
I'm just picturing just like a massive telescoping eye just kind of drifting around the town, like following Morris, and just like sweats beating off his forehead as he's desperately trying to ignore whatever demon this is behind him staring at
I
him.
don't know what he did to piss off God, but
I never even thought about it from the other end. Would there be a physical thing you could see? I assume not. But that would be hysterical if it's actually like this rectangular window screen and they see your faces like hovering around at everything you're looking at.
it's all like happening on the ethereal plane. So they have that one kid that can see ghosts is looking around like, oh my God. And just this as like
Thing comes
weird,
in.
like in like some sort of like a balcony and just like appear next to him and like, oh, hello.
Then our cursor comes
Well,
down and selects all the units and makes them go
It was
top
actually
number.
it was a pretty big deal when Vidborg can see you guys, when Sylvain Vidborg could see you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say there's a nothing there, but I love the idea of it. There's
So
this.
I'd like to check on Card Keldley to see if he really did get rid of the Zrex.
Okay.
Because he
Yeah.
said he would,
Go
but
check on.
What did we have to focus on in order to get there? Was that
just
Carn
Card
Keldley.
Keldley.
Yeah, that was the old
that was
name.
an old? Oh, okay.
Yeah, you guys had a new name for the town, but I liked the old name for the town better because it's the one I knew. And then I just made you guys call it that.
Oh, Keldy
Oh,
Falls.
Keldy Falls,
That's right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Just pulled that right up. That was
I
awesome.
remember
Man,
things.
It's very good
yeah.
because
Thank you.
there's no waterfall in the town.
Not anymore.
No,
Not
we were
anymore.
talking about it falls when we felled it. We weren't talking about waterfalls.
It was a future name for when we turned into gorillas.
Even then, we didn't knock over the town. We just knocked over its
Half of it.
main infrastructure.
Yeah.
So as you are zooming that in, and Zell, I'm guessing you're taking it to that upper tier of the city where the Razia Tower used to be,
Yeah.
and a building adjacent to it was a very large manor that was occupied by the Zrek as part of their headquarters, off that garden area. And as you wait for a moment, you're looking at it, you can see that there is no activity going into or out of that house.
Okay.
There's no guard on it, but I mean, you can't get quite so close. You can see if there's a lock on the door, but it does look as though it's been abandoned, maybe even for a couple of months.
And do we see any Zrek-like activity in the streets?
No, as you're like backing out and moving, like, directing it through the city streets, most of the city seems unchanged. Go ahead and roll an insight for me.
So many options.
Unironically, though, she has like 4 sets of dice over there. One each.
23 unnatural.
That you can tell after even just like a matter of seconds that you would gauge that the demeanor of the people you're seeing on the streets is positive.
Oh, okay.
That it seems like there's a lot of upbeat people that are selling their wares, that are making the things they make in the very shops where they are. That there's a positivity that's all around the city, and as you're moving about, you don't see anyone that's dressed as a Zrek.
Okay.
Now
I can smell some foreshadowing there. Let's go check out Worland.
What about Weldon? Do you want to go to Worland next?
Yeah, let's just pop back over to Worland. Yeah,
okay.
we've done kind of this weird loop, so we might as well finish the loop.
All right, what's going on? What did
there.
Roderick? What was that?
Rodin.
Roderick.
Rodin.
Matthew Broderick Cutler.
whatever his name was.
He's got
what's
about
he doing?
much appeal.
That as you zoom in on the
Baron.
actual the city state, the
Baron. It was a stupid joke.
But you two liked it.
yeah.
All right.
Which is crazy because it's a Ferris Bueller joke. You two should have gotten it.
I was wondering if that's what you were referring to.
the Bueller.
Matthew Broderick Cutler. Baron.
Oh.
Baron.
I'm with you now.
Got it.
All right, now that we've dissected the frog, what do we see in Worland?
It looks as though the city is almost doubled in size again. Now it's still largely wooden buildings. There's not a lot of stone buildings, but it was about doubled before. And from the original size of the town, you would say it's at least 2 times that amount, maybe 3 times that amount, maybe even pushing outside of that. So the area that was where the Druids were, June Tanil, where their houses, that has definitely been enveloped. There's little copse of trees that they're still in the middle of, but it's been subsumed by the rest of the town.
Well,
What
like
are the
Zelen
odds?
says, when life gives you a forest, burn it down.
There is a fairly strong military presence that's moving around, and there's building just going on all over the place.
Like I could tell the people in Carnkeldley were looking pretty happy and content. How do the people here look for me?
Oh, go ahead and roll an insight again.
And while we have full control over this, are we able to just without naming a city, could we just will it to move down streets and get closer views at like storefronts?
Yes, you could.
Okay.
That you could.
16 on an insight.
19 on an insight.
Yeah. So the two of you,
Roll an insight and get a 17.
yeah, go. Who are you going to Zelen?
9. Myself, apparently.
Look, I've been to that place before. It looks like the people are one of 2 schools. That there are a lot of people that have a lot of prosperity and they're building, like they have hopes and they're making a new a life for themselves. But then there seems to be a fair number of people too that seem less happy with what's happening in their life.
Okay.
That they are either just kind of a work-a-day working or unvoiced, whatever's going on. There's a few different taverns, like pubs that weren't there before. One seems to be in a spot where it was kind of a tent, like a tent-like structure, but it actually has walls and a roof now. So there's definitely more daytime drinking going on in the town than what there was before.
What I'm wondering, do we want to look down? Do we want to put direct eyes on anyone that we met when we were there, Mr. Sage, anything
Wrong
like that?
city.
Yeah, Sage
Where are
is
we
back
now?
in
Oh.
Carnkeldley.
We did leave there, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're jumping around like crazy, trying to see if we can get a Zongo to throw up.
I'm trying to think. Wow, what particular
June
points of
Tannel,
interest?
whoever that guy was that was cutting people's brains out.
Oh, that
yeah.
wasn't us. We weren't part of that adventure.
Yeah, but that was
We
in the-
definitely arrested him.
that was the bad guys.
Yeah, and then they broke him
we
out and
did.
killed him.
That's right. That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Olsen's brother.
Well, so
Yeah.
here's one of the ways
Good
that
old Casimir, the
Here's
most loyalist guard ever.
here's what I would
How
like
was
to
the
do
statue?
while we're up here. I would like to go to every place we think might be useful. Like I'd like to go to Boris's barony. I'd like to go to that college that he refers to.
Arngol.
College. I'd like to go there. I'd like to go to the edge because any place that I've seen a tree, I can go there and take all of us there. So I'd like to go to lots of different points and see a tree.
Get them fast travel markers.
Oh my God. Does this count as seeing it? She's just going to look at every tree.
Yes, she certainly could.
So you're just going to skip around to like all the baronial capitals in the Confederation of Duchies and go, there's a tree, there's a tree, there's
was
a tree.
amazing.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and then there's also the big ones, the 7 still remaining Adlai trees that are in the Confederation of Duchies.
Yep.
You could jump to any one of those spots or right where the fighting went out the
Come out in the middle of the trunk and fall 200 feet.
You could go just almost anywhere. Yes. So you are noting large enough trees, and if you're noting it too, make sure a point that they're conifers, so you know that Jake would come through with his armor individual if he needed to. That you could most certainly do that. So if you want to start making a list of these various points, like grind,
We're probably going to have
definitely.
to sit down and do that out of game and
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
go through
Because that
everywhere.
would be a lot of
because
points.
Right now, my list consists of a single place, and that is everywhere.
Yeah, right. You go down to the
All
Corman
trees.
Empire.
I've seen
I'd
them
like to see
all.
all trees.
Yeah.
right.
So if, given that this is kind of a Google Earth thing, if you zoom out far enough, you just see the whole planet sitting there
at once.
And therefore, have you seen all the trees and can then go anywhere because it's all in the same plane?
Yeah, and your eyesight wouldn't even need to be that good. You could you've seen them all
That's a
from the
tree.
tops.
That's a
right.
tree.
That's a tree. That's a tree.
I guess the one downside is you
Okay,
always
so
come out of the
we'll
top of the tree.
do that. We'll do that out of game. We'll list places,
Well,
and then
you
I'll
back away
record it.
far enough, Boris, and you realize that the mountains in the distance, it's just like a bowl of grape nuts, and there's sugar
The hell's
on
a
it.
grape nuts?
It's a cereal, and there's some god just eating his breakfast, and that's the world he's eating.
Okay.
All right.
So we're in the Marvel universe. That's Galactus. Good to
Yeah,
know.
right.
Guys, this is the moment when the writing turns because we're apparently phase 5 and it's already been bad for a while.
Oh, man.
Okay, so
This is now a Marvel debate podcast.
let's go check Weldon.
Yeah, Weldon. As you zoom into the area that you know to be where the town was, there was that very large knoll was being made into a like a Mott and Bailey castle, and then
Yeah.
the bridge is being built across it. That the structure, that fortified structure, doesn't seem any bigger than what it was before, but the town right across that very large creek is substantially larger. And as you were like zooming into it, you could see that further down the river, just further along that same valley, that there is another town that
Oh, wow.
they've been building apparently just nonstop. And just going from the one structure to the one settlement to the other settlement, there are substantially more people that are
People?
moving about.
Or orc people.
Half orcs are still
Bugbears.
people.
They're people.
They're still people.
I don't know.
Wow, Zealot.
They are sentient
Okay, in a
individuals.
D&D context, if it thinks it's a people.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
So
know
like
that.
your pixies are people.
I
So
didn't know that.
it would look as though there are.
I mean, they're short, so they don't
It's like, wow,
count.
I really should be paying them
Fight
more
me if
or
you can
paying
reach.
them.
I just kind of use them. That so many more people must have come into this area that there hasn't been enough time to have, like, gosh, they all had kids and they're all adults when they were born. There have been a lot more people who have fled to this area.
And what about the lizards?
Yeah, how are
Can
the
we
lizard-
tell
yeah.
how they're making progress
Also,
with
are they
that?
setting up a caravan to go to that manor to rebuild it like I told them to?
Well, yes, but that was only like yesterday.
Yeah,
when
yeah,
you
no, that's why I
that.
said setting up a caravan.
Yeah, so
not
you don't-
do
you
we
don't-
see a caravan?
You don't
Literally,
you don't see like a line of horses that are being set up.
They
yet.
don't have
So
horses. They have big lizards.
That's the
Best caravan.
the structure wouldn't be. So whatever's happening in preparations of that would all be indoors. But you do see, as you are like panning around the area, that there are warriors. They have spear, they have bow, they have short weapons, and they are riding on lizards as they seem to be patrolling the valley area.
Lizard
Very cool.
cavalry. Hell yeah.
What about Kroll? Do we happen to see Kroll anywhere?
Let me just give a random that you could focus on.
Next, we have to
Person's
check in on
there.
Irina Radabal.
No, you don't.
You don't
It
see
doesn't
her?
like zoom in on a person. That way you just can't name a person and jump right to
So
them.
then the last place would be Shepton, right? To check and see what's going on at Shepton.
Yeah, might as well.
All right, yeah. So again, once you're on Shepton, the town looks to be about the same size as what it was before, but there's a lot more. When you go to the adjacent field, that would have been, like about 500 feet away, that it looks like there's more construction happening there, but it all looks like the kind of stuff where you would be storing like rough timber logs. if you had other materials that you were amassing, that it looks like that's part of their assembly point for sending materials either back down to Worland or maybe going out in the opposite direction and going out to Weldon. So it's difficult to see what that's for.
Building roads.
Yeah,
But
that'd be good if they were connected. If they were connecting to Weldon. What about the tunnel? Does that seem to be used anymore, or
No, actually it doesn't, because that goes still straight into the Bugbear Valley. And it looks like, whatever kind of...
Well, on the plus side, all the bugbears haven't come through and killed all the jump hunters.
Yeah, whatever's happened that's kept them, from coming through, there could be open hostilities. You're not sure about that one. But, or they could have rebuilt barricades, who knows. But it doesn't look as though there's any traffic from the Shepton side that goes down toward where the tunnel was.
should we go look at the Black Stair? That's where we got in trouble the last time.
Yeah, we're higher level now.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, when you zoom in on it, it looks just the way that it had before.
The same.
Same. And you don't see anything because you were at the other end of the Black Stair.
Yeah, did we wake up the portal?
No. There'd be other things that might have to happen or things that have to be reconstructed if that's even attempted. And even the spots where the ground was burned, it looks as though even those circles are coming back, and you don't see any new ones.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
And then I guess while we were looking at Grian, there was nothing else weird going on with the cemetery where it all started,
yeah.
right?
No.
right.
But it would be reasonable to say that there's a couple of fresh graves.
Yeah.
But no, the town looks as though it's just been holding its own.
They've started using mort cages, so zombies aren't really a problem.
What about Vlackveld?
You guys did. That's where you did.
That's where we saw
the army and
on the
all
army
that.
amassing.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that army that
Oh,
was
yeah.
just
That was
stitched together
that was
people.
the creepy. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
the creepy place.
Standing
Okay,
out
never
there in
mind.
the
I don't
rain.
want to go back there.
Okay.
I kind of have
Okay,
an
we're
idea.
gonna have to, but whatever.
Yeah.
I kind of have an idea.
Yeah.
If we realize now that it's working when you focus on names, I was kind of morbidly curious and checking on Bolt and seeing what he was up to because he kind of vanished.
Yeah, well, it didn't work when she tried just to name a person.
Was it?
I tried to do it for Kroll, and it didn't work.
I write up a JavaScript program too.
Yeah, he just scans and looks around.
So
Darn, I was gonna say that'd be kind of cool. Just to
Do
see what
face
he's,
recognition.
I can't talk to him, but if I can still see him what he's up to. But all right.
What about the place where the crazy woman was?
Yeah,
Violet?
Sarntar Azul.
Yeah,
Sarntar
Sarntar Azul. What's going on there?
yeah, that as you zoom into that area of Sarntar Azul, as you zoom to it, you can see that it looks like there's some sort of a camp. Honestly, right there at the barrow where you guys went in and fought with Abner.
Gross.
And-
I activate the death ray powers.
What kind of camp?
Well, as you're coming, zooming toward it, you can see there's a thin little ribbon of smoke that would be very indicative of a campfire. So somebody is there.
But we can't get closer?
Oh yeah, you can. So that you're seeing that as you're coming in.
Oh.
So that as you zoom right down into it, and it is kind of crazy that you're seeing exactly where the houses were that Violet was living in, kind of
Yeah.
between those few houses in that square. What was a square, a nice area of the
Are
city.
we still there in some kind of crazy time shenanigan thing?
Yeah, no, that'd be a horrible thing to do to somebody. But then as you are. As you get in close to that, you can see there is a campfire. There's a person in heavy clothes, hood up, hunched over that fire, and they are preparing a meal and they're stirring up the fire. And then somebody was walking out one of those houses. Then somebody else comes out, goes back into one of them. And then as you pull around to the one side, you can see that there's a couple of other people that are walking back from the where the barrow would be, over in that direction. You don't see them.
Describe these people.
They look to be
Are they
human.
human people?
Yeah, they're human people.
Is that the universal symbol for human?
No. She was asking human, but the wiggly fingers next to the temples means autistic.
So they seem to be human beings.
They seem to be human. Do they look Zrekky?
No, they don't. They're not dressed in typical.
Why would human beings want to resettle in the barrow?
Are they resettling or are they robbing?
I don't know. Do they look like they're robbing?
It looks like they're
Do they
just.
look like they're resettling or are they just camped here?
It looks like they're just camped here. So you'd have to watch them for a much longer period of time to figure out
I'm not doing anything right now.
if they're trying to if they're going to go somewhere and start digging.
Well, our travel time's been cut down to a spell slot, so
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
not
you
like
guys
we
can
can't
move
just
around
kind
pretty
of
fast
spend
now.
a few days here.
The other thing I'm wondering though is because the last time that we spied on Vidborg or
The bad guy.
he knew where we were immediately, and knowing now that they could probably track it down to this location, I thought we were clearing out of here soonish, maybe not
Oh, I
immediately.
see
but
what you mean.
Didn't
Like,
we want
we
to
don't
get out of
wanna-
here at some point?
We don't want to let them trace the line back.
Eh.
I think it's already been done.
Well, that's why we're not spying on like the Vistari Manor or anything.
yeah. I didn't know if we were worried
Known
about that at
centers
all.
of eviltude.
Yeah, good point.
So, what do we want to do about do we just want to leave it and see what happens?
Do you have a spell slot to bounce us there right now?
I don't know.
Probably.
Because I can hit things with a stick.
I mean, worst case scenario, it's a brand new day. I think we just rested before we hopped in the tree to get here, because we just went from having all the
But
entire.
then we hopped in the tree. She had to cast the thing.
Yeah. That's what I mean. But we were just over by the other manor thing where we had the instant fortress up and all that.
Yeah.
Where we fought the dragon.
Yeah.
I think we had
So
a long
she
rest
cast-
after that.
No, I don't think we've had a rest since then.
I gained back the 6 hit points or so that I lost.
Oh yeah, no, I don't. I'm open.
All right, let's bounce there and beat them up.
I
And
was gonna say,
find out what
because
they're doing.
we spent multiple days there while I was carving up God.
Yeah, but what I was saying
But then we came
was-
here.
Yeah.
So you
Spell
should
slot
have one
to-
spell slot used to get us here.
Oh, maybe I forgot to click it.
Okay.
I probably forgot to click it.
So
So
do
then-
you have another one to bounce us down there?
No, not until we rest.
Well, let's keep an eye on them, take a rest, watching shifts, and then go there and beat them up.
Yeah, or who's close to that? Is anybody from? I could send a message to Weldon or Shepton, or if anybody is close
I
to
think
it,
the
just to go.
bugbears would be the closest ones, but even they would be days away.
Mm.
So us.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd be the
We're
closest
the closest
ones
to
here.
everywhere
I
now.
just don't know why anybody would be hanging out in that area.
Well, it's either a red herring or it's what we're supposed to do. So
All right.
Yeah,
All right,
it is,
cool.
yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
But also, worst case scenario, it takes a day because we go there, we beat the crap out of them, and then we just
And
go.
then
Well,
we
that
rest.
was a side
We have to
mission.
rest.
Yeah, if you have to rest,
Yeah,
you
Do you
have to-
only get the one?
Yeah, have
or
one.
we just lean
that's
out the tree and go, "Hey, what you doing?" And they're like, "Burying
camping.
this dead chick."
Yeah,
And they're like, "Ah,
do you guys
don't
want
steal anything," and lean.
you
You
guys
pop
want-
back into
that
the
would
tree.
be awesome.
Do you
Just
guys
to-
want to spend the night if you go through it to recast the thing? I guess you're leaning out of the tree. Does it let you do that? Or read that again?
Well,
I
it
think
has a duration
have
to
to
it
step
because we
out.
all went through it.
That's
so
true.
as long as we don't exceed that duration, I just
Which is-
lean out of the tree looking like a giant
Which
ant.
I
and
think
like,
is
hey,
is a single round. But talking's a free action, so what's to say you couldn't?
the duration ends while you're hanging out of the tree.
You just can't go any further than halfway into the tree, otherwise you won't have enough time to get back.
So
duration is 1 round.
Yeah.
yeah,
6
so
seconds.
Now it does say a range area is 10 feet, but I'm assuming that means the tree needs to be 10
yeah, the
feet
tree is
from
within
me.
10 feet.
that's
of you.
correct.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So do we want to? Anything else we want to see up here? Do we want to rest and get that spell slot back?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like the beginning of the day. Oh, yeah, and you don't have the. Yeah.
I wonder, what happens when I take a short rest? Or
Nothing,
maybe
because that was the circle.
Nothing.
that was the
I
other
think, yeah.
circle. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no. So it only takes 5 feet of movement to go back and forth. So in a round, I
You
could go back.
like,
Yeah, I
6
could go
times.
back
You can go like 6 times. Like, boop, boop.
12 if I
Oh,
I
dashing,
dashed,
that's true, yeah.
So you could go through 18 times.
I could. Yeah. They see me,
so we could just run it, punch him, jump out, punch him, jump out. That'd be fun.
Well, I could run and punch him, run back in. I could do that in a single round, if assuming they're within a single move action of the tree.
Can you imagine? Just out of nowhere, some guy's like, ah! Hits you, ah! And runs back into just a tree.
dressed as an ant.
With the whole
this
entire
place was
headpiece
cursed.
on. I don't think we have to worry about them anymore. Cleans off his hands.
All right, is this what we're doing? Are
Let's
we
do
done?
it.
Are we done with the tower?
Yeah, apparently this is what we're doing, yeah. So,
All right.
Well, we're keeping the tower active with one of us in a rotation to make sure they don't just wander off or do anything obviously illegal.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, so
I have those occasionally.
I'll take the last shift.
Gonna hunt
So
us some breakfast
anything?
from up
Do
in
we
the tower.
do we want to give the druids any different direction since now the tower actually is physical?
Yeah, so if one person's
It's
on
really
watch up
real,
here,
indeed.
the other two are going back down and talking with
Yeah.
Drew.
Yeah.
All right. So
I'll take first watch then.
all right. So
So we're gonna go back
Jacob
down.
and Zelen.
Yep.
Yeah. So you want to talk to Drew about this? What
Yeah,
does this
well,
mean for
I
this
mean,
area?
obviously they're going to be a little surprised that the thing is
Well,
there.
right. Yeah, that it's actually a physical thing now.
I thought what's his name was up here with us.
No, it was just us. We didn't bring anybody else up.
I thought he was in
you're
the
not-
room when we
You're
activated.
not part of the fun kids club.
So clearly
Right.
we fixed a thing.
Is it like perfectly visible, or is it still like
Oh,
that
yeah, it's-
translucent
Oh, yeah,
kind
no,
of?
it's-
No,
Okay.
it's a real tower.
It's no longer magic. It's just rocks.
It's a real place.
Rocks. Okay.
So this is you can go into this tower, but the need to protect it remains. We have
Izongo.
Izongo.
We have Asiago on our team.
Izongo. Did you see Izongo?
We did. We saw the whole thing from the
We
ground
have a
right
key
over there.
berry.
That was startling. I thought for a moment that was the end of our lives yet again.
Yeah, we have that experience frequently too. So
Some closer than others.
we have obviously reawoken Izongo. So he will help keep the tower safe, but your presence here and your need and the need to protect it remains. Have you been up to the top of the tower to be able to see how it works?
Yes, he did go up with you that one time when you guys first got there. Yeah.
So
Well, the second time we got there.
that would continue to be a place that you could use to keep watch. Do you feel like you can manage it now that it's a physical corporeal thing, or do you feel like you need more help?
I don't know. I'm not sure that the things that you and Jacob and Boris have said that could come to this place that would want to do damage to it seems more real now that this is the case. I think what we should do, what the druids here should do, is to begin to defend this place in a more conventional way, and not because anyone could see it. There are magical scryings that this could be very quickly a known place. So the area needs to be defended, and I'm not sure what that would take exactly. I'm just a simple middle-class druid. But we would still need to have defensive measures, outworks of some sort that would mean bringing a lot of people in. And I just don't know that Worland is a place right now that would support something like this. I fear that Worland might actually be against something like this.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that you do need some more help, but I would suggest you get it from either Weldon or Shepton.
All right, then I'll probably send both Henry and Sylvester to
One to each place.
to do that. Yes. Well, they'll travel together for a while, but then they'll separate and one go to one go to the other to see what aid can be gained from those locations to defend this
It'd be
place.
I'm not there. It'd be safer, but it would be safer to have them travel in pairs rather than slightly, barely faster for them to split up. Because Shepton's practically on the way to Weldon.
Yeah.
So, splitting off, at like 3/4 for a guy that's almost at one point, and then, another guy going another quarter of the distance. That make the most sense. We're not gaining anything by doing that.
Yeah, can you send an animal messenger?
I could do that too.
Yeah, let's try that. Let's start with that.
All right, so we'll work on making those connections and defending this area. And whenever Boris comes down, we can talk about the best ways to try to defend this region, where the best place would be if we're putting up a palisade or if we're doing some kind of outworks to change the direction of the stream so it can be a defensive measure. We can talk about those sorts of logistics and try to make it a better defended place. But beyond that, and then some magical means that I would have, that June and Aina would have, that I think that we could put other magics into it. It might be a case of where, and they themselves are very much keeping to themselves in Worland, that they've been looking, but not with much sincerity, for a place to relocate themselves. It might be best if they relocate here and just get out of Worland altogether.
I would agree, and to have some higher power druids here, I think would be great.
All right, yeah. So we'll work on
good idea.
We're going to take about those things.
Now I'm going to go take a long rest.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so you'll take second watch, I'll take third. Do we need more than that?
No, we'll be fine.
All right.
We got druids to help us too.
So if you're up there for a couple of hours, Boris, at least, that toward the end of this couple of hours, you do see that these guys gather, digging gear, and they're going into a house. And they start digging around, propping up stones, moving things over. It looks like they're either searching for particular something or they're just searching for whatever they can that would make them money.
Yep. Initial assessment seems valid. I'll update Zelen when she relieves me.
All right. So, after, say 3 hours, you go back and you're up there at the top of the tower with Boris, and they're mostly in one of the houses, not one of those three in that immediate area. They've walked a little toward the city, but it seems like they're looking for artifacts or valuables.
Can I get close enough to see what kind of things they're pulling out?
You can actually go inside the house.
Okay.
That they're going in there, but they go in there with shovels.
Weird.
Yeah. Okay, are we done resting? Are we ready to go and see what the heck they're doing?
She just wants to get in there and kill something.
I don't want to kill them necessarily, but what if they're searching for those same kind of artifacts that we've had trouble with before? The little,
That's fair.
I want to know whose side they're on. You know what? If they're coming here and picking up some valuables, whatever. This place is abandoned. I don't really care about that. But if they're bad guys,
Just tombs.
yeah, well, it's not my tomb. If they're bad, if they're bad guys,
I was like, it's
I'd rather cut them off.
archaeology at this point.
Well, no, given that there was an occupant less than a year in there, it's closer to grave robbing.
Yeah.
what is
the
the time
cutoff?
scale?
He says, staring at Violet's dagger on your hip.
She was alive when I took it from her,
It was more of a loan or a gift.
or she was in the process of dying. Whatever. This is.
Technically, I mugged her. I didn't rob her tomb.
Wait, she tried to stab me.
If you consider the fact that they could fight, they just aren't fighting back. These are spoils of war,
Well, given the amount of undead we fought.
right?
So you're going to spend a spell slot.
So
and you're
what are we
gonna
gonna do?
Go through a tree there? Or
You're gonna
you
pop
leave
your
them
head
alone?
out and just ask them what you doing.
Well, we can all, kind of...
We can all pop our
Pop
heads
our head
out.
out.
So we all.
It takes 5 feet of movement within a round. We've got 60, 60, and 120 feet of movement.
Good smack.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it.
So, we can all pop out and go, Oi!
All right, let's do it.
Well, here's the other question: is do
But
you
then
think
you have
that-
to pop right back in again. I mean, how
Yeah,
much?
or kill them and take over their camp.
will they be ready for even that sort of a response? Will they be able to even reply in a timely manner before we're like, well, we got to go?
I wouldn't
Speaking
think so.
of free action.
Well, it is. So we let minutes go by, a free action time. It just pauses all
Go ahead,
spells
just
around us.
read the spell to me, if you would.
This spell creates a magical link between a large or larger inanimate plant within range and another plant at any distance on the same plane of existence. You must have seen or touched the destination plant at least once before. For the duration, any creature can step into the target plant and exit from the destination plant by using 5 feet of movement.
Yeah, I'm going to say you can't just lean out of it. It says you're stepping into it, stepping out of it. So either you guys commit and go there.
Yeah,
or
but
it's-
we've still got our amount of movement in a round. In one round, I can move 60 feet. That was never the issue. The issue is their response time.
Yeah, so we could go in there, do a thing, and still have enough movement to move back into the tree if it lasts for that whole entire round.
But it's only saying, it doesn't say you can just jump back and forth during that
For
duration.
the duration, any creature can step into the target plant and exit in the destination plant by using 5 feet of movement. Yeah.
Oh, you know
Okay.
what? No,
It
but
creates-
that's, you step into the target plant.
Yeah.
So I guess
to
the destination, it's only a one-way thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
But
It
then
creates a
that's-
magical link.
Yeah.
yeah.
So why would the link? Well,
I guess
mean, it's
because
your-
the wording specifically says you step into the target plant and you exit the destination plant.
Right.
It doesn't say you can step into the destination plant.
But then
And
that's
come
the
back.
issue then, not the amount of movement we can
yeah.
have in one round.
Well, and the it doesn't say you could just lean out of it. It says you're stepping out
Yeah,
of the thing too.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I've been saying we step out of it.
It was just the issue of maybe we can't go back into it once we're there. So
Yeah,
and
it
since
does
we've
say-
already done it once, we probably might actually know that. So we're deciding if do we actually want to go there and
Reasonable.
spend a full day, or at least do whatever's going to happen, take a long rest before we can go anywhere else, since it takes a whole spell, the only spell slot
The
you
only
have at
spell
that
slot
level.
I
Well,
have.
we should have leveled up when we restored Azango's tower, so
I mean-
you should have too.
Yeah, right.
So stepping through, or
Is that what we want to do?
not?
We still all agreed
I
with that.
like the idea. It definitely seems like our best kind of lead at
Yeah,
the moment.
I don't want somebody to create some kind of base of action here when it's so close to Weldon and Shepton, and we need those two to stay strong and good.
Yeah, I mean, were they armored? Were they suspicious looking in any way?
Yeah, they were
Did
suspicious.
we recognize them?
You don't recognize them. They look kind of vagabondy. They look as though they've been living out in the wilds for a while.
Oh, just like okay, so they could very well just be camping there. Maybe they stumbled
Robbing
across
graves.
this. And
They're
now,
us.
Now they're
6 levels ago.
well. Maybe let's not ruin these poor folks' day.
All right, so we just want to leave them be, let them do whatever it is they're doing. And
Where do you wanna go
we don't
next,
care
then?
about it.
Worland, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, we spent the entire night watching these people with the expectation of beating the shit out of them in the morning.
And now we're like,
now we're
"Eh."
thinking maybe we were just tired and hungry.
I'm still for it, but it's now inefficient because we need to beat them up, use their camp, see what they're digging up, and go, oh, that's actually pretty neat, and then take it. And then we're hypocrites, and I lose my powers.
Oh, it's fair, yeah.
Well, no, yeah, that it is true. We would see what they're taking, and in some cases, we would destroy it because that's what we've done with some of these other artifacts that we were afraid that they were bad.
How does sending work? Does it can you just pick them? We get to go in the tower, we watch them, and you just send a message into one of their
That'd be
brains.
familiar with you if you know the person.
If the trees count, why not the people?
I was gonna say, because if sending is you just have to lay eyes on the person. You just have any person you've seen. That would be amazing. And because if we could do that, we could just watch them, ask them a question, and just say, "What do you think you are doing?"
Define
a creature,
familiar,
yeah,
then.
with you are familiar.
Yeah, that's
I'm very familiar with them. I've been watching them for hours.
How
But
fast does this suit?
all right,
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Let me do.
get ready for the next.
Play me out while I do some math. It's gonna take a sec.
Yeah, or conjure woodland beings. Maybe I could send the fairies. Go check them out. See what they're doing.
We could totally play it as a complete side mission where it's just the familiars get sent on a mission.
How far away? How far away are we from this place?
That would be a number of days. So
So how
somewhere
many tree jumps
like
would that be
5,
for you?
8. So
Oh, yeah, how many miles?
yeah,
I can only go 20 miles.
it'd probably be about 100.
Okay, so
So
that's
5 days.
That's you can only do it once a day.
I can only move up to 20 miles total in a day.
Oh.
Yeah. How's the math
yeah,
coming over
it'd
there?
be about 12. It'd be 10, 12 hours to get Usud to fly there.
Because he doesn't have to rest though, right?
No.
And can he just fly pell-mell or?
Yeah.
I guess dashing. It feels so weird that there's no sprinting. I feel like you should be able to.
Yeah, there isn't a run.
Yeah,
There's just a
you
double
should be able to
move.
spend your entire round to just book it.
As fast as you could.
As
yeah.
fast as you
yeah,
could.
reasonable. Yeah,
But,
you think there would be.
All right. I like the idea of going to Worland.
Well, I could send him there. It takes 11, 12 hours for him to get there.
And it gets back to you instantly. Right?
Yeah, and then I just do the ritual, and then 10 minutes later he's back here.
Yeah. Be a fun 12-day
We can
investment.
interrogate them through Usud, but then it's just Usud talking to them because that's way outside. I'm pretty sure that's outside my range of telepathy.
I thought telepathy was just on the same plane of existence.
It might be for imps. I need to.
Yeah, I thought
see
it was
the
much
base
closer
creature.
than that. I thought it was
I know the base familiar is 100 feet, but not a basic familiar.
It might be some weird shenanigans with warlocks, the way that their familiars work, or I might be thinking of one of the invocations or something like that the warlock has available to them that extends that pact of the creature bond, whatever thing that might have those extra features of so long as you guys are on the exact same plane of existence, you can communicate with each other. But I could have sworn that I don't know, imps, because the last time I was a warlock, I had an imp as my familiar. And I just remembered it being, there was a certain mile or so radius where you could look through their eyes and experience what they experience. But I think just communicating with the imp itself, I thought that was unlimited.
Yeah,
So it would be.
I don't recall, and we played 3-5 for a long time too, and I definitely mix up those things one set of rules
I
to the
can
next.
perceive his senses within a mile, and I get his magic resistance if he's within 10 feet. So nope,
Oh,
not
wow.
that good.
Okay.
There is no telepathic in there at all.
Well,
just-
yeah,
you're
no, he just has his own native.
His standard ability.
There you go. All right.
All right, so then you said your next course of action was to then fast travel to Worland.
Yeah, I think that makes
All
the
right.
most sense. Unless something you're looking up over there is changing your mind.
So, Zelen, you most definitely could pick a number of trees that are right around where the druid's house is. Like I said, there's little copse of trees that still, surrounding where their house is. So you could even blip into that. You would think, most likely unseen from the people that are in the town. There's just on the outside of those trees, there's streets and buildings going in both directions. But and a lot of movement on the streets. But you think you could go into one of those trees and come back out right at their house unnoticed?
Is that how we want to get there? We don't want to go through the city gates like
Yeah, no, let's,
everybody else.
I don't trust. Well, one, way faster and way more efficient. And 2, I don't trust Roderick at all. So just kind of appearing rather than giving him any warning.
You
I
like that better?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we ready? We're going to do that instead. We're going to bip into Worland.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, as long as we boppity boo our way out.
All right. Done. Casted. Let's go.
Okay, you guys go into the tree, back out. I guess after you said goodbyes to Drew, we're headed to your other house. And you jump through, and you are standing right in front of the Druid's house in Worland. Make do a perception to see if you think anybody noticed any of you. Sight, sounds, gas, me stopping, drops a set of tools or something.
5.
27.
29. Ha ha ha.
So Jacob and Zelen.
Usud's got a 13.
Okay.
Oh, all right.
So apparently Boris and Usud are having a conversation with each other. But
wearing a bug on my head.
Did you see that? No one saw us come through that tree.
Wearing a bug on my head severely reduces my peripheral vision. And he's still flying 2 centaurs.
Wait, you guys left me? But the two of you are positive that no one saw you jump into it.
Nice.
And then almost immediately, June spins around. June Tannel spins around where she was working in her garden. And immediately she's like, Zelen. And she runs over to give you a hug.
Hi, June.
And then, puts her arms out
Yeah,
wide
I'll take
for the
the
two of you.
helmet off.
And it's like, and Jacob, and who's this? Oh, Boris. And then usher you guys into the house. It isn't safe for you to be seen out here, and not yet. We should talk plans. And then goes in. So
That's an
relates
interesting start.
that it is.
I feel deeply vindicated.
It is a much more dangerous place. Not that I think you'd be attacked on the streets or arrested, anything. But the Baron Roderick is not the leader that everyone had hoped he would be, and more the leader that everyone feared that he should be or that he would be. But sits you down, is getting out tea, making a breakfast, etc. Just like your aunt or your grandmother, she's got to cook for everybody once you come in.
Are we in danger of being overheard if we talk within your house?
No, we'd be safe right here. And honestly, I don't believe that the Baron is wise enough to set any spies on us. He would still believe us to be not players in this game, that we're just a couple of old people that like gardening. And he's probably looking to see if he can't take over this building and use it for some other purpose, because it's an established building. And we still should be finding a place further outside the town. We just haven't done it yet.
I was talking to Drew, and he could use your help up there. The tower has changed.
And again, her reaction is just, it's amazing. These incredible things that are happening now. I find it hard to believe. Well, then maybe we should. Maybe we can do that.
I told him I'd talk to you, and I do think that would be the best place for you and a big help to him. That tower could potentially attract attention, and we need to make sure that it's guarded and protected.
Then we'll see what we can do, and we'll find ourselves. We'll start to prepare to make a move in that direction. Has he built any kind of houses up there?
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
All right, so there's a place to stay. All right.
Well,
So
then there's the tower itself,
And then there's the
which
physical
was
tower.
indicated to have levels, so assume there's some kind of access to those levels.
Yeah.
that actually, you guys went up through it. It was like a long shaft with just that level up at the top. That
Well,
that observation.
you
point
said at
top.
one point, the platform, just the observation platform.
Yeah, and then that base. So there's
Okay,
not
well
levels
maybe
between.
they could
Build 'em.
subdivide it, or
build them in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
just keep casting stone shape until you've got a floor.
Right. Yeah.
that's a good point. So you guys are talking about logistics, and so she has all kinds of information to talk to you about, but she fills you in that there are many, many more half-orcs that come up from Arkland, that there's an awful lot of movement.
In Worland?
I'm sorry, in Worland, yeah.
In Worland or
In
Weldon?
Worland?
I'll start all over again. That there are many, many half-orcs that come up from Arkland into Weldon.
Okay.
Got it.
That the news that comes there is that it is becoming a garden spot of the barony. And in a lot of ways, though, it doesn't really function as part of the Worland barony.
Good.
Yeah, good for them.
The Baron is, and we only hear rumors about it. I don't know how true it is, but that it could be that he has a desire to move a larger military force there. And so he's growing his military forces here, training, conscripting, people are moving into this area too, but really, Carn Kedley is still the draw from people coming out of the Confederation of Duchies. We do get a certain percentage of people. So we're growing, but it's mostly locals from the Free Baronies. That there's a lot of movement and still a number of people. Well, the movement from Vlakveld stopped. No one comes from the north any longer. And it seems that the Baron of Bolengard, right between like the Vistari Hills and the Confederation of Duchies, that he's closed off his borders and is walling himself in. So it's mostly from the south. People are coming up. And,
A lot of Zreks?
there are so many Zreks that are in the city now. Now, the Baron of Worland has done everything he can to find places for them, but even to the point where they're taking homes and they're putting Zreks in most homes to put them up ever since they fled from the south. And it is pushing a lot of our logistical limits when it comes to food supplies, and lumber is now running short. The stone is easy to come by with the Brimroar right here. They've reopened a few of the old mines, the quarries. So stone is easy to get to, but you can see, and she points out through the trees off in the distance, where a number of trees have been taken right up into the Brimroar, where the initial slopes into the Brimroar are just been logged out and bare. So they're waiting for more shipments to come from the Worland area, but very little comes down from the road.
How about control of the people? Are there more limits, places you can't go, places you're not allowed to walk, times that you have to be in your homes, that kind of thing?
No, there's no curfew, and people can move about as they wish. It's just that the town seems to be building itself just to be a camp, that everyone is looking to make money off of everyone else that's here. And what's needed mostly is food and raw materials to build more buildings, that there's very little businesses coming into the town itself. It's becoming more and more like an armed camp. And one of the only directions to go and earn a living for anyone, men and women both, is to join the castle guard and fill out the ranks of what had originally been a company and is growing in size to he's making a small army.
And you said he's doing conscripts. Is he getting enough people joining, or is he actually having to? Is he actually just taking?
People have little choice, that as they're that if you go out and walk about, even if they're just dressed in their common clothes, they'll probably still have some sort of a necklace that has a badge on it indicating that they're part of the guard force, even though they're not regular, not typically armed, that they're coming from wherever they can with whatever kind of weapons they can, but they have no other choice but to join this force.
Has the force around Roderick increased?
We never see him. He is always in the castle. And it would probably take, honestly, something like your arrival to get into the castle. It's just a matter of how you negotiate that one as to whether or not you get back out.
Yeah.
Remind me, how did our last conversation with Roderick go?
Tense. You swore loyalty to him. You were given property, but didn't quite swear. He tried to get me to swear loyalty, and I called him stupid and threatened to kill him.
Yeah, because it
But,
was
in polite nobility fashion.
And
but
yeah,
he was talking to you as you were another baron.
I was one of his knights,
Right.
as opposed to being a full baron.
Yeah, it's because of
And
him that
more
I own
importantly,
big
a
air quotes
baron in a
own Gorion.
duchy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So you not just technically, you really do outrank him.
Yes.
When it comes to that
in both
hierarchy.
de facto and de jure power.
Right.
Yeah.
But he was trying to pull it you were one of my dad's knights, so you're working for me. And you're like, oh, no.
Yeah. No.
That's not going to work.
If we're having a point of honor here, we can definitely do some trial by combat, bud.
So I hear it's not de facto, it's de jure now.
So that's where,
No.
that's where things rest right now.
Miss.
So,
Actually, a 19 versus armor class would miss.
now we get a lot of word from.
I've got an ally on the other side of you.
You're flanked.
Natural 20.
I'm duck out of the way. The miss one that's as I'm ducking, your other hand comes up and just right across.
Yeah, you ducked the hammer, and I just bap across the face.
Too slow. Whack. All right. Well, we're back.
Okay, she also says that there's a lot of news we received the news. Aina and I received this news that that Shepton works very, very closely with Weldon. That
Good.
that it almost seems like that those two have formed their own separate free barony, and that there's very little to do with they have very little to do with Worland.
What's the rumor about us?
That you were dead.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that was
we could use that to our advantage.
and
yeah, honestly.
only honestly outside of us, knowing that there's this tension in between Worland and Weldon and Shepton, which is just an amazing reservoir of supplies and talented people. That region has really jumped up. Most of the focus here is just for the Baron to be able to extend his power and to know that he's really in control of the Weldon area.
Well, I'm of the opinion then to rattle that cage.
Yeah, I agree. So if he thinks we're dead, what's our best approach?
Well, I think if we can lean on your hospitality a little while longer, June, that we spend the night here, make sure we're at truly our best, spread the word discreetly that we've been seen among people we trust, people we know could be on our side. The troops we took to Arkland, they might be more loyal to us than to Roderick. But then we get some horses and ride up to the palace and declare ourselves, me potentially declaring myself as Baron of Morscommon and of Southland. Just to rattle that cage a bit.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, and we're doing it intentionally to leave her out of it, though. Like, we're going to go be seen with them because we don't want him to think of June as being associated with us.
Agreed.
Keep eyes off of her.
Yeah, that we'd mount up. I'd change back into my regular armor, not something this distinctive. We'd get the horses somewhere else. You just stay here the night.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Parade through the city. And
Yeah. So do we have the rumors started, or do we just appear? There's no word of us at all, and suddenly we're in his streets.
Oh, one would rattle him a bit more. I mean, what do you think would rattle him more? Like hearing that, like the rumor, because they
I
just
think if
believe
we
us
just
dead.
appeared kind of in the middle of town,
Yeah.
like a few blocks south of here, and then
'cause he'll definitely know
rode
about us
from kind
being
of
here.
innermost gate to palace gate.
Yeah.
June says, I know a number of the farmers that are local. I could have 3 mounts brought in to wherever point you want if you just simply appear here
I
as you
love
just did.
that idea.
Yeah.
No word, nothing. We're just
and-
here.
And then have those horses ready. You mount them to ride in the rest of the way.
Yes.
That could certainly be arranged.
I think
Yeah.
that's the way to go.
Let's do that. Yeah.
All
So
right.
why change into your other armor? Because it's more official looking? Because this armor is more
impressive, yeah.
creepy looking.
This is much more distinct, so
Yeah.
I'd have a harder time getting from here to there.
Got it.
Without being noticed.
Got it.
and
Okay.
Presumably stopped.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. Yeah. So then you just small talk the rest of the evening, and you're resting. You're probably out of your armor, and that just feels
See
good
about
too.
getting some tobacco
You know-
again because I probably smoked through all of
Yeah,
that down
and
in
Probably.
I might actually cast.
been smoking chitin the past month.
I might cast the thing that gives the thing to make good berries. If food is a problem in this area, I'd rather not tap her resources for all 3 of us.
Yeah, she definitely puts on a very lean meal for all of you.
Yeah.
And she eats
Well,
like an
and we
old
have-
person anyway.
We have our own rations that we bring
yeah.
with us
Yeah.
that we don't actually really need anymore per se because
Dragon jerky?
She comes back down from what was Drew's room upstairs, and brings you 3 pouches of tobacco. And hands them over to you. It'll just go bad
a
if it's
gift
just
beyond
sitting there.
measure.
and it leaves that with you. So you guys wake up the next morning. During the night before you guys do go to bed, she does say that she knows that about 80% of the raw materials made in Weldon or produced in Weldon stays there.
Good.
And goes right
Good.
into building up that structure. And some of it goes to Shepton, and then just whatever's left comes down here to Worland. So it's part of the reason why they're hurting so much. All right, so you wake up the next morning, and as you guys are getting yourselves ready, she does say, I meant to say yesterday, I'm sure you'd be interested in this, that there have been Zereks that have come into this area, but if anything, it was fewer than what we thought there would be. Fewer than we thought would be coming up from the south, because we had word too of what happened in Carnkeldley. So it's just strange that they might be relocating or forming some a point of strength somewhere else.
Right.
Even though the Zrek are stronger and stronger here, they don't seem to be that bad, evil spellcasting kind you're talking about. They're more of the
Administrative.
logistical, right? But there's definitely a number here, but fewer than we thought would be showing up.
That's not good news. If they've branched off to something else, did your dragon thing?
Usud?
Has Usud come back to tell you?
Usud never left.
Yeah, that was just a joke.
I was just joking about how he and I
man.
both botched the rolls.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right, so then she says, well, I'm off. I'll be back in about an hour. And where is it you want to appear in the town?
And
You're saying whatever courtyard was closest to
are
the
we
inner gate.
appearing, or are we just moving through cloaked?
Yeah, we're gonna move through.
Okay.
Yeah, we can. Can't I do something about our appearance?
Well, it might not even be necessary.
Yeah, no,
Just,
well, we just
don't take the spell slot.
Well,
for
no,
it.
use the staff of the woodland to do pass without trace, so that way.
or just get that bonus to our stealth score so we can just walk through the city streets.
Right. Yeah. So
Right.
it may not be that we're like hidden, but we're inobtrusive, kind of a thing.
Right.
The first time people even realize we're there, we're mounted
We're
in the
on
middle of
the
the city.
We're
Exactly.
mounting up, throwing cloaks back.
Yeah.
I put on the circlet of blasting because I've still got that kicking around.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the most
We put
crown-like
on
thing
we
we've
put
got.
on our torques. The things, our armband things.
All right.
Sparky
yeah.
Boom Man.
So
I tried. It wasn't
so
that
I would say
effective.
we want to meet at the right within the gates, like maybe.
Yeah, kind of the edge of the original town.
Right.
Okay, yeah. So that would be, at this point, that would be where there is a courtyard area. There's a well that's right there. And that would be, when you go into the town, you'd be going right through the square that has the statue, and then you're almost to the castle itself. So, yeah, that makes an awful lot of sense at that spot. So she rendezvous. About an hour later, she'll be there with the horses.
Perfect.
You're casting
I
your
cast spell without pass without trace.
I cast spell without
spell
passing.
without trace.
spell. A spell without vodka.
I cast spell without passing.
And you move right to where she is.
That's even better because I meant to say I cast pass without spelling.
You move through
That's how I
there,
got to elementary school.
and it does feel like you're like, I don't know, kind of like a whisper moving through. People out of your way. Just almost like you're a breeze that passed through in between them. And then you're at the horses and mount up. And then June takes a step back and just is not going to be associated with you being here all of a
Smart.
sudden. Takes herself, out of the area and disappears as the three of you spur your horses and you go riding on through town. And almost immediately there's something of a clamor because you were just there. That it's like, these horses were there, but then you were there
throwing
on the
back
horses.
cloaks, circlet of blasting like a crown.
Yeah.
And they start calling out your names depending upon however they would have identified. A lot of people don't say anything at all because they don't recognize you. Just that
Yeah.
there's obviously what would have to be Confederation
Nobility.
nobles that just came into the town, and that means money, it means opportunities, it means all kinds of things. But then some of them, they're like Sir Jacob, Sir Boris, Ladies Allen, that they were there before, and you do see that there's a group of 3 of those guards who were part of your original detail. And as they come running up alongside of you, they move and they say, "Shall we take point, sir, and move forward?"
Do so.
And they do. So they're afoot, but they march on ahead. They draw weapons, weapons out.
Before they go, I'd have them calling out, "Make way for the Duke of Southland."
And he says, "Duke, my lord," like that. And, and he turns about. So they have weapons drawn, like held up, like a staff.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Make way for the Duke of Southland." And
That'll rattle the cage.
the stir that goes through at that point, that people are again like rushing into what's happening right here as you guys move right by that statue you heard about, Casimir statue was set
the
up in
guard that was protecting.
that was protecting
That was
the
quote,
former
quote,
Duke,
protecting.
that it's there just before where the castle itself is. You go across that moated area. You can see there are more outworks. It is a more defended place because it used to be that this castle was kind of like,
Well, to be fair, a bunch of people broke in and assassinated the Baron,
well, and
so,
you could wander in
point
from
taken.
anywhere you want, yeah. And as you are getting up to the castle, there's all kinds of sounds and noises going on. And then a party is moving out, and as they come out, you see two more of the guys that were part of your own troop, and he's like, Dean, what's going on? And the guy that's way out front, he's like, it's Boris. He's the Duke of Southland, like that. And he's like, Duke, like that same thing. Make way for the Duke of Southland. And then he has a staff with the banner, and he boom, against the stone that he's on, and he yells back in toward through the gate of the castle, and he says, the Duke of Southland. And so that's going through. And these guys being part of the core original, some of the best soldiers from the pre-Baron, the former Baron, they have a lot. They have a lot of clout, as far as voice at least. And so that word is being spread up and in and through the place that the Duke of Southland is here. And then as you guys are reaching the gates, you're dismounting. Moving in on foot, you now have what looks like an honor guard of 5, and all of these around you, and you don't see your own lieutenant. You're not sure what's happened to him.
Yeah.
But and as that happens, you see coming downstairs very, very quickly and abruptly, throwing his cloaks about himself, is Baron Roderick himself coming in, and he is flanked by 3 Zrek that look to have the accoutrements to say that they are Zrek authority. And he moves forward, and he was like, Duke of Southland, what is the meaning of this? As he walks up toward you.
Roderick, I must confess I am disappointed in the company you keep here in my city.
And so go ahead and roll. Either if you meant that as an intimidate or as a bluff, whatever makes the most sense to you, you go right ahead.
Yeah,
I will absolutely.
The hammer is not out, but I definitely know it's on my hip.
I would definitely give you a what's it called? The help action on an intimidate check.
Yeah,
calling out behind him, like something to the tune of, I don't know.
Yeah, helping however that happens.
Barely dressed as you run down the stairs.
19 as on an intimidation.
And you can see almost immediately when he sees that it's actually the 3 of you, and you see his face fall, like wait. You're dead. You can't be here. And then how could you get in this close? I should have said insights. Go ahead and roll insights even after the fact. There's some more that could be got.
19. Hey.
Wow.
19 for me too.
Hey.
17.
But still, so all of you recognize that he did believe you were dead. You are positive of that. And he turns a glance to the advisors that are around him that they must have been those that told him that you were dead. And that you are certain that there were different levels of security that were on watch for you guys specifically, and you guys have completely, circumvented those. And that as he is trying to remaster himself with your intimidation, where he was about to be all bluster himself and pitch it right back at you, he says, my lord, I'm surprised you could consolidate your powers so quickly. I did not even know you were still in the region. And he's looking at his advisors again. And he said, come forward. The castle is at your disposal. Let's talk strategy.
Most gracious of you. And I nod to the escort and then kind of motion to the 2 of you to come with.
Oh, yeah.
So moving forward, the Zreks and the 3 of them put their heads together, and you know the way. It's straight through, then off to the right.
Yeah, no, I'm not waiting for them. Yeah. And I'll take his seat in that meeting. So again,
and we'll sit at your right and left.
Good. So as you do that and you sit yourselves down, he's again stop like that one, but he's almost without thinking about it, acknowledged you as being the Duke of this region. Yeah. And how does he back away from that at that point? Against I rolled a 7 modified 3. I rolled a 10 against your intimidate. So he is like, when you guys move right to that point, cutting him off to get there and sit yourselves down almost immediately, you can just see the tension in him as he is watching you guys do this. And he takes the direct opposite part of the table, the exact opposite side. And he sits, and none of his advisors do. They're still standing, behind him and just to that side.
You can go.
And he said, my lord, one at least should stay. It's as though their presence is my auditory and verbal notebook where I keep information so I could relay the facts about the barony more quickly and more easily.
And these notebooks, I'm sure, are very neatly edited.
I'm not sure I know what you mean. Two of them walk out, and one stays where he is.
Yeah, I'll give that small bit of ground and allow the one to stay.
He says, well, now that you're here, then I could imagine our first order of business. We'll have a feast, of course. The mealtime is not too far off this mark as it is, and we shall turn it into a feast and celebration, not only of your living, your arrival, and your elevation as well. I would imagine something came down from one of the confederations, one of the duchies, and it just kind of hangs out there in the air as he says it. Do you even bite and respond to it?
No, I'm gonna let him squirm. See what he brings up in his, quasi panic.
He says, "I am sure that after the feast is done, one of our first orders of business must be to speak with." And he turns to that Zarek is standing there, and the man goes, "Archdeer Skinner." He says, "Yes, Archdeer Skinner. The Weldon, the region, is in total rebellion. That we need to bring them back under the fold and make sure that they are truly established as part of the Baron of Worland under the Duke of Southland."
Thanks for listening. Social media plug: Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Follow us on each of those at The Empire's Edge. We're doing our best to spread the word about the podcast, but nothing beats the efficiency and efficacy of word of mouth. So get out there and tell everyone about us. Another thing, don't forget to hop on whatever app you're using right now. Yes, now, as I'm saying these words, leave us a review. It's the best way for the internet to start doing word of mouth for us and recommending this podcast to folks of similar taste, other nerds. Tell us how you want to see us change the story or make any suggestions to how we interact with our listeners on our Facebook page. And if you really want us to listen, attach a $5 to it by sending us money on subscribestar.com/the-empires-edge. Die, Greg.
Die, Greg.
Greg.
So we have these things at work that are RECs, RECs, recognized environmental conditions. Then there's CRECs, which are controlled RECs, and HRECs, which are historical RECs. And because of that, I call them RECs. And no one gets the joke. And I have no intention of explaining it.
How do you mean Greg? You've never been to Greg's?